The Cardinals announced a contract extension for Cliff Kingsbury and GM Steve Keim, so some stability there, if not necessarily at quarterback quite yet. So how are you feeling about the Cardinals right now? Like Arizona plus 350 to win the division, plus 1,200 to win the NFC. Like, are these the guys who can help continue to make Arizona improve, or was the extension for Kingsbury maybe like a little premature for a team that, Geoff, really faded down the stretch?
Yeah, they sure did fade. You look at the Cardinals, you just look at some of the stat indicators out there. They're one of the top teams in DVOA through about 9 games of the year. 5 of their last 6 games, they came in with a negative DVOA rating. This is just a team that crumbled down the stretch. And rewarding Cliff Kingsbury at this juncture because his team made the playoffs, sure. But I'm not sold on the Cardinals being good long-term right now. Kingsbury is a coach who went 35-40 in 6 seasons at Texas Tech. Can be a fancy play caller all he wants. He was not a good in-game manager in college. He's not a good in-game manager in the pros, and really he's not a good motivator. I mean, this team just absolutely crumbled. 24-1 in the pros so far. And look, if you want a stat here that just shows you how well Arizona ran at the start of the year, they fumbled 25 times on offense last year. They recovered 23 of those balls. There is no way that fumble luck is going to keep going over the course of the next year or even 2 years. So I think Arizona ran really hot through 9 games. You're seeing, Kyler Murray, obviously, with the motivation and just the injury factor rolling. No, I don't like this move at all for the Cardinals, and I don't really like their franchise right now.
Ooh.
Reid, do you have as dark an outlook for the Cardinals as Geoff?
Geoff with the fumble stats. It's like Pearce with the umpire stats.
Yeah.
RIP to the MLB. But I digress with the NFL, and I'm in the same camp as Geoff, but maybe not as outwardly angry about Cliff Kingsbury. Look, it's well documented that he doesn't do well later in the seasons, that he's not a good motivator, but teams take the identity of their head coach and their quarterback. And right now, not all of the onus should be put on Cliff Kingsbury. Look at what Kyler Murray has done, right? He hasn't been able to stay healthy. He's electric. They need him to win games. They went from a 3-13 team to a playoff contending, right, in the middle of the season team that just hasn't gotten it done. Now, what scares me more than that, right, is I'm not worried about the re-signing of Cliff Kingsbury because what other options do the Cardinals have, right? There really wasn't any other options, head coach or quarterback, right? You're not going to not sign Kyler Murray. It's all of the free agents that they potentially have. Chandler Jones is probably not going to be there next year. AJ Green is a free agent. Chase Edmonds, Jeff's boy is a free agent. James Conner, Robert Alford, who was their best cornerback, but is still not a good cornerback, is a free agent. And Zach Ertz. So you have all of those guys who potentially they have to re-sign. They don't have a ton of cap space. That scares me more than Cliff Kingsbury. San Francisco is probably the one team that I really like. Their odds preseason from last year to win it all was plus 1,400. It's the same number this year with essentially Jimmy G. Either maybe he's there, maybe this is an early sign that he's going to stay. I don't think he does. Or that the San Francisco 49ers still have that good of a chance to make it with a quote-unquote rookie quarterback. So I like San Francisco, don't like Arizona, but not necessarily because of Cliff Kingsbury.
All right, Pearce, what do we think?
I like the move. It's stability. It avoids going through, the vicious cycle of hiring coaches year after year. We've seen these teams always try to improve their coaching and dump a guy that maybe was just getting the system in place. And really all you want from your head coach is just stability and a calm system where everyone's getting along. And we don't see anything in terms of feuds or problems in Arizona. So that's fine. Scheme-wise, yeah, Geoff talked about how they weren't executing and how they crumbled down the stretch. They had to deal with a lot of injuries. Offensively, yeah, it might be some of Kingsbury's play calling, and maybe he should, give up some of the play calling, and they should actually hire an offensive coordinator. This team doesn't even have an offensive coordinator. They have a run game coordinator, which is kind of the problem. They run the ball too much. So you keep Kingsbury, you bring in somebody else to help with the offensive end. You hope to get healthy. The division is going to be a problem, as Reid talked about. The San Francisco, I think Seattle will improve. Los Angeles just won the Super Bowl. It's a tough road ahead of them, but if they're healthy and Kingsbury just kind of gives a little bit of the play calling away, then I think they definitely could be a real threat.